February the 13th, 2026. Guys, a beautiful day here in central Mississippi, bright and sunny, 74 degrees. It's can't get any better than this, really, guys. How can you complain? It's almost perfect weather. And it reminds me of the old stories of when before the earth was in the overthrow, called the Catabo in Hebrew, that the seasons remained the same. The earth didn't wobble and tilt and shift. We had all the seasons and the hurricanes and the tornadoes. It was stabilized. It was designed perfect before that. But again, back to the subject. Just beautiful weather here in central Mississippi. Anyway, we've been looking at the SAVE Act, and we've been hoping, I have, and most of you have, that it will get passed. It looks like it may make it. I think they're up to 49 of the 50 needed if they do the walking filibuster. The DHS ICE thing did not go through. It may eventually, but they're funded till 2029 anyway. Now, what we saw last week in Georgia was it scared the Georgia election officials big time, because we went in and they found that there was enough votes that were not certified, were not even signed, that Trump would have won the last election. Now, how are they going to work that out? We'll just have to wait and see. But the people that did that could be in big federal trouble. Now, we got a lot of people over in Arizona now because of Nancy Guthrie. What is happening, Maricopa County there in Phoenix, they have refused to turn over their voter rolls where they can get them straightened out. And you know it's one of the most crooked voting precincts in the nation. We see it year after year after year. And it's a shame, because there's a lot of good people in the Phoenix area, and a lot of their votes get canceled out because of this. Anyway, it says Kristi Noem in Maricopa County for a Georgia-like event with election officials. This is coming from John Solomon. And guys, just quickly, this is a map of Maricopa, the voting centers in Maricopa County. And all of these red areas that you're seeing in light red to dark maroon was where their voting machines went down shortly after that day started to vote. And it all got turned around, and it was, I think, over 60% of the voting machines refused to work. And it appeared to be controlled by outside influences. Anyway, all of that's allowed to happen because of county and state voting officials. And they are in a panic right now. It's not just Kristi Noem. We've got Tulsi Gabbard going in there. You know, she's head of D&I. She's tough. D&I runs about 16 different branches of the government, and she's over all of those. And so she's going in there. And what we may be seeing is, because of the pushback by the Democrats to have legal voting, honest voting, that and the pushback on the SAVE Act, that Trump has got his people to say, okay, we're going to have trouble and pushbacks in this area. Let's just go straight to the heart of the matter. And so you take in the head of the D&I guys and walk in there. She gets everything she wants. Tulsi's tough. 3 tours, 2 in the Middle East, 1 in Africa. And she's still head of a Texas Army brigade, I guess is what it's called now. She's a reserve, but she's the commander. She's tough. She's honest. I like her. I think she'd be a good president one day. Anyway, maybe that would be something Vance would consider. Who knows? But she is tough as nails, and she sees clear as day. Now, there's complaints about every one of these people holding information here and there. Right now, we do need their focus here. It went into Georgia, got Fulton County. Now we know it's beyond a doubt that the votes were not correctly counted. I don't care who says what they say, what they want to. Now they've proven it. Went in and got it. Okay, even with the Fulton County, Georgia election officials, they hid about 47 boxes. They had a number that we were supposed to pick up there in Fulton County. And when they got him, they loaded him and everything, but they were 47 boxes short, and still was enough votes showing clearly that Trump won that election. But you still hear the rhetoric from the other side of the aisle saying Trump is still lying and cheating and saying the elections weren't fair. It's not just Trump. It's anybody that can read the news and look at the reports coming in and see the changes that we saw overnight in 2020, right, guys? We all know what's happening. This information is not going to be popular, but now there's a lot of people going to be in Maricopa County. Now, this report came out yesterday from John Solomon, but she's there today, and I think Tulsi Gabbard is also. It says Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem will be in Phoenix, Arizona, the heart of Maricopa County today, to reportedly discuss election security as the Trump administration fights the state for voter data, as ordered in the president's preserving and protecting the integrity of the American elections. And again, that was an executive order. It was signed in March 2025. The Department of Homeland Security, in coordination with the DOJ administrator, which I think at that time would have been, was Elon still hanging around then? Can't remember. Anyway, shall review each state's publicly available voter registration list and available records concerning voter list maintenance activities as required by 52 U.S. Code 2507. My Huskies. Alongside federal immigration databases and state records requested, including through subpoena where necessary and authorized by law for consistency with federal requirements. All the states are supposed to do this, and you saw on the list I read you yesterday, some are not even turning over anything. So now we're seeing the big dogs walk in on them. And the Arizona Election Board, when they got this information yesterday morning, and probably from John Solomon's report, they immediately called a 2:30 p.m. meeting yesterday, an emergency meeting, and it was to talk about what lawyers do we need, how are we going to do this, how are we going to lie, cheat, and steal, basically, and get ourselves out of this mess. They panicked. And they had the commissioners come in. Not all of them did, because they allowed them to telephone in online, things like that. Anyway, they're in a panic because of this sudden announcement. It says Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays and Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes have pushed back against the federal government's attempt to secure Arizona's elections. Voters in Arizona, we know how they get there. They cheat. That's what they continue to do now. But you guys in Arizona, the good people that care about your nation and the survival for your kids and grandkids, you go to the polls. You don't have to be, if you just got to hang around outside, see what kind of crap goes on, you make sure this doesn't happen again and hope that it gets straightened out now, or you will not have a nation. And they filed a lawsuit against the administration last April, coming out of the Gateway Pundit. Again, they're doing everything they can, including using crooked lawyers, of course, to fight it in court, along with crooked judges. It's all been set in place. And according to the reports, Maricopa County was at the center of election scrutiny following both the 2020 and 2022 election, where, as the map I showed you, 60% of voting machines failed on election day, and these are caused several statewide races to be won by the Democrat candidates. Other things happened besides that, but think about it, guys. There's too many good people in Maricopa County for this to happen. You guys have got to take charge. Noem's visit also comes just weeks after the FBI executed a search warrant against Fulton County, investigating fraud back in the 2020 election again. Just the news, John Solomon yesterday reported that he believes there will be another Georgia-like event in Arizona like what happened in Fulton County. Keep an eye on Arizona. He said she's down for a reason. and I think my reporting suggests that there will be some sort of important integrity event tomorrow. Now, that was yesterday, so this election integrity event is happening today. Again, as soon as that news hit the press, or whoever got it to the Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County, they held this private emergency meeting on Thursday to receive legal advice regarding new information received the morning of February the 12th. It says, oh, what's this? This is from Marissa Caldwell on X. BOS Emergency, Board of Supervisors Emergency. Look at that. Looks like the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors are suddenly in a panic with an emergency executive session that happened today at 2:30. Now, that was yesterday at 2:30. And man, they did rush it through. This is actually a copy of what they put up and in the notification from Maricopa County. Notice the timestamp at the bottom, dated February the 12th right there, yesterday, and stamped on the 12th right here from the Maricopa Clerk, Board of Supervisors. Removal of this notice is illegal except by authorized personnel. Everything they've done is illegal. Anyway, special notice of an emergency meeting, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, to be held at approximately 2 p.m. yesterday. Notice is hereby given that an emergency session will be held. Again, 2:30 gives the address here. The meeting will be held with members attending either telephonically or in person. At the emergency executive session, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors may consider information and or legal advice how to keep our butts out of jail, relating to board authority and responsibility regarding election administration. Legalese. The emergency is due to the need to receive legal advice regarding the information received the morning of February the 12th, yesterday, requiring direction from the board regarding election administration. Signed, Juanita Garza, Clerk of the Board. Now, Joe Hoff, guys, has put this article out. It says, breaking, rumors that Maricopa County will be raided soon regarding the 2020 election. And again, that's why the panic is going on there. Now, this was posted. It says Maricopa County, Arizona found 420,987 failed ballot envelope signature verifications in the 2020 election. Nearly 500,000, guys. Maricopa County, Arizona alone had a total of 2,089,000 million ballots. 1.9 million of those ballots were by mail. Mail-in ballots were used as a main method of fraud, they're saying. And Michelle at America First has posted, attention FBI Director Cash in Maricopa County, Dominion voting machines helped steal the 2020 election. I read her a Trump ballot, and as soon as she entered it into the machine, it defaulted to Biden. I was threatened, but I'm here because it's our duty to speak the truth. She caught it, she reported it, and she was threatened. And she was at an election integrity hearing with select members of Arizona's legislature. You can see that in this video here, telling the truth about it. So, and she says, again, attention, Director Cash. Attention, Patel, you need to pay attention. Now, you got a state senator there, Jake Hoffman. On Thursday, yesterday, he teased a major breakthrough in Arizona's elections, saying he'd been in contact with the Department of Homeland Security for the last 72 hours. Securing our elections is part of that. It's a great part of it, as well as the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI group, guys. That's part of their job, too. Secure the country. And again, Jake is right there in the middle of this. Stay tuned, America, he said, noting that the corrupt Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and their election department are in full panic, and the Board of Supervisors, past and present, are corrupt to the core. Now, Noam's visit comes at a time when the U.S. Department of Justice is suing Arizona for voter registration and election records that the Arizona Secretary of State says it can't legally hand over. Arizona is among 23 states sued by the federal government over voter data, according to the Justice Department, which says it wants to ensure voter rolls are accurate across the country. Opponents in these states that have refused to cooperate have said the Justice Department is seeking information to bolster President Donald Trump's unfounded claims of a stolen election in 2020 and express worry about how the personal information will be used in the future. They're saying they want to protect the voters' information, guys. But if you think about it, this really is not about proving that the 2020 election was stolen, unless Trump is thinking about a third term, which this would probably give him legal right to do. But it would be cleaning up the rolls before the next election. Says the federal government seeks unredacted copies of the state's voter registration database. Maybe it's stored somewhere, but I'm sure it's not just sitting around in the open, including fields that are not typically shared. It claimed the authority to do so under several areas of federal law, including to Help America Vote Act, known as HAVA. Anyway, other GOP-led election reform efforts have stalled. A bill known as the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections, passed the House on February the 11th, but it has narrow prospects in the Senate without Democrat support. But since this section of the article has come out, it's up to 49 of the 50 needed, again with a walking filibuster. And like I said about them fighting the SAVE Act and refusing to give over the voter rolls and things like that, it's being approached from a different way. But right now, the U.S. Senate, this is today, moves toward criminalizing sanctuary city mayors and governors who defy federal immigration law. That's what we've been talking about. They've got to start there. And then if you've got to work down from there, once you get these people that are controlling the riots and instigating everything, get them out of the way, then it may be a better situation. You know, they pulled a lot of folks out of Minneapolis. And it may be, I may be wrong, but it may be that, and I think I heard it mentioned, that Trump is realizing with so much going on that he may need to focus that much attention in a few other areas and let them stew in their own sewer. Eventually, they will come around, and it may be that there's so many pre-programmed people in this nation that you see protesting everything from left to right in every city almost now on a daily basis, that there's so many that, again, from pre-programming, from education and other ways, that are just over the edge, you know, unleash the nihilist. You've heard that before, right? So he may be saying, oh, this is a big, big mess. Let's let them, if they want to let these people tear down their cities and burn them down, then they would have to really cheat elections to stay in office. But we've seen that in California, right? Anyway, this could be a very big deal, and I'm going to find out more information about it, when this will happen, and in what bill it will be, because I think it's important. People are tired of politics. I am also, but I am focused on making sure we have a nation. You understand where I'm coming from, don't you guys? Anyway, it's a heads up. Be safe.